Hey, hello friends. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dan, and this is Daily Art Adventure. I have to look. Number 615. I called it Exploring New Territory on the YouTube channel, and then I thought, no, Charting New Territory has a better ring to it. Either one will do. Let me tell you where I am. This is a real unusual situation. First of all, every painting is a bit of an adventure. Okay, I've said that, I think, fairly often here on this channel. I probably even more than some professional painters, I have a step-by-step, a formula, if you will. And I think it's because I've ended up having a rather different approach to painting than most people. I didn't set out to be different. I didn't try to be different. The goal was not to be different. I started down this path about 15 years ago. What path? The path is basically very loose, transparent acrylics underneath, and then oils on top. That basic strategy. So I've ended up painting differently, and without even trying. And as a result of that, I think I have a more, what's the word? Slightly, maybe, I don't know, I've never been anybody else, so perhaps, I'm just going to say a more healthy respect for process than perhaps some painters. All right, so I have process, and normally one of my paintings, by the time I'm finished, not counting the intermittent intentional messiness, not counting those, every painting will end up with somewhere between 12 and 16 layers, or 12 to 16 stages, right? All right. And I have a normally routine. If you watch my videos, you see, well, this painting came out of the chute different, started out different. So that's the first thing I want to point out, that even though I have in my mind, in my repertoire, a step one-ly, two-ly, three-ly, as one of my old professors used to say, in spite of the fact that I have a step 1, 2, 3 in mind, I am very free to mess with that system. All right, and you should be too. If you're imitating me at all, then of course you feel free to mess around with it too. Make it your own. I'm sure you're already doing that. So let me tell you what happened on this painting. First of all, here's the photograph that I'm working from. I found this lovely view of the Raleigh skyline from the south, from a cemetery, historic black cemetery, which I'm sure when it was first made was like 2 miles south of Raleigh or something like that, right? Well, now it's right in the middle of Raleigh. I'd never seen this cemetery before, never noticed it. I was out snooping, I was out driving, I was out intentionally looking for new views of the city, and sure enough, found one. Beautiful, and certainly the most beautiful cemetery in Raleigh, in my opinion. Not the most historic Oakwood Cemetery. That's where all the Civil War soldiers are buried and so forth. But just the most beautiful. Anyway, and because this is a fairly large canvas, it's not huge. It's 4 feet by 6.5 feet. And I think I shared with you the other day, I was starting it online. I don't know which daily art adventure it was, but you can go back and find it not too long ago. It's a golden mean. Go back and read what that means if you're not sure what that means. So it's a golden mean ratio, just for fun, and just because I think it's a pleasant shape. But rather than spend a lot of time trying to get the drawing right, I did what I've done now. Well, this would be the second time in a row. I did a grid. So I just, in 1 foot squares, gridded it off, did a grid on the photograph. And so started out by doing a pretty careful drawing with watercolor pencils, okay? And then the next thing I did, I have to remember this, grid, drawing with watercolor pencils. I'm sorry, that's number 2. I should go this way. Grid, then drawing with watercolor pencils. And here's where I started going off my normal. There was quite a bit of detail. More, in other words, I took the watercolor pencil drawing to a higher degree of finish or detail than I normally do, all right? And then I thought, well, dang, I don't want to do my big messy abstract on top of that pencil because I will lose an hour of work or 2 hours of work. You know what I mean? I didn't want to lose it. So I thought, okay, then before I do anything else, I'll pick up small brushes. So it's brushes like this, maybe like this, fairly small. And in acrylic, transparent acrylic, I drew the whole thing again. Rather ponderous for me, rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Laborious, boring, to draw the whole thing twice. Oh, that was kind of painful. But, you know, sucked it up and did it, got it done, yahoo. So at that point, then I took wet rags and wiped off all the colored pencil. It left little bits of stain here and there, and that was fine. But I basically took off all the colored pencil, okay? And so now I have a drawing in paint of this scene. Then I took big brushes and I did my big abstract, like for instance, you can see right here in this big red stripe and this white stripe and green here. You can still see quite a bit of it. Up and you see a couple shafts coming down here and here and here. And anyway, you can see it everywhere underneath. Red marks here. So my typical crazy abstract swooshes. You with me so far? The difference is I've already got the drawing, detailed drawing in acrylics on the canvas. And then I did swooshes. Then I did glazes, big, using 4-inch brushes, did color all over everything. And again, so now here I am at that point, I'm off book, so to speak. This is not the way I normally work. So at that point, I had a careful acrylic drawing, pretty accurate, pretty detailed, fairly detailed, and then abstract all over it, on top of it, messing it up, obscuring it somewhat, right? And then glazes on top of that. Now the glazes were pink, yellow, orange, pink, green down here, and then any colors I wanted in between. But the sky was pink and orange, yellow, and there's a lot of green down here. At that point, normally I would have redrawn the drawing with acrylics, except I already had the drawing done in acrylics. So here, and I know some of you could care less about all these details, so forgive me. I'm telling you this partly so I remember what I did. So the very next thing I did wasn't drawing at all. I did white opaque acrylic, white highlights. Again, somewhat more detailed than I normally do. And much to my surprise, at that point, I looked at the painting and said, oh, I'm done with the acrylics. I can go straight on to oils. Wow. So I had only done 4 layers of oil. I don't mean that at all. I had only done 4 layers of acrylic. The drawing, the abstract, the glaze, and the white. And again, forgive me, I know this is not that interesting. Only some of you most die-hard followers care about this. But this is different. So then I glazed the whole thing in oil. The normal glazes, warm, cool. And then again, I took another surprise. I'm going to have to write this down. A surprise to me. I took another divergent turn. Normally, after glazing in oil, I would either draw with black pencils. You regulars know about that. You irregulars. Jerry's Outerama makes this pencil. It's called Jumbo Jet Black. Okay. Normally, I would draw either with pencils or with oil. But I didn't. I went straight to fuzz layer. And I did real wild and crazy fuzz. The fuzz layer means translucent. Not transparent, not opaque. Right in between translucent, local color, and very soft edges. So I did the sky first, and my sky colors bled like this is, you know, a good 6 inches from any sky, but it got all the way down to here, just to give you an idea. So what does a soft edge mean? In my book, a soft edge on a painting this big can be 8 or 9 inches wide, because soft edge the sky could come down this far from the sky, just to give you an idea. And I did soft edge on the orange, brown, and mostly on the blue sky, on the light green. Anyway, so that was very different. But when I finished, and I haven't done much since that, when I got to that point, I actually sat down at the dining room table for supper or something, I think, thinking I had hours and hours and hours to go on this painting. And all of a sudden, I lifted up my eyes and looked at this painting from a little distance and went, oh my goodness, I'm nearly finished. I don't know if the feeling of this painting is coming through. Hello, David Mercer. There we go. I hope I fixed it since you said that. This is one of those times where the painting has a presence, a charm about it, frankly, that goes way beyond me as the artist. I'm sitting back and going, whoa, how did that happen? I'm even hard-pressed to analyze exactly how did what happen. Well, this is really got the potential for a beautiful painting. I'm going to pick you up. I don't know if just let you see it a little bit from different angles and different glare hitting it in different ways. Something about the composition, something about the color. There goes my reference photo. Something about the texture. I'll catch that comment in a moment, David. It looked interesting. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I have worked on, since that step. A couple of days ago, I worked on this building. I worked a little bit on that blue one. I worked on this one. Here's the way it feels to me right now. This painting is mine to lose. It's like a high school team or any kind of team, but that goes into a game where they're expected to win by 40 points. Okay, that's where that expression comes from. It's theirs to lose. That is to say, if they don't do anything really stupid, they'll win. And that's the way I feel about this painting. If I don't do anything really stupid, this is going to be a really good painting. But I have great respect in my ability to do something stupid. I do. So doggone it. Here's just what I'm going to do. What I'm doing, I'm doing it already. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand here a lot with my hand on my chin. I'm going to paint very, very slowly. And I'm just going to proceed. When I see something that needs to be done, and that's the key word, needs, not kind of want to sort of maybe should be done. No. I'm trying to ignore all those things. I just want to do the things that have to be done, and I know how to do them. So, at least for a while here, this is going to be one slow painting. Not at all like my normal, where I'm painting normally at pretty much a breakneck speed because I know what I'm doing. It's ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay, for you, any students that are watching me or will watch this later, do listen to this. This is how, in my opinion, I am aware of this, this is how breakthroughs happen. Because breakthroughs happen when you get off book. I think that's a chess term. That's what I'm thinking of it. When you get off book and do things that you haven't done before. And sometimes transcendent, wonderful, amazing things happen. And I certainly hope that's going to be the case here. Where'd my reference go? It fell down while I was talking to you earlier, didn't it? So it also makes me think that this could be a dreadfully boring broadcast if I let it go on forever and ever, because, as I said, I'm going to be doing a lot of scratching my chin. Whoops, I'm about to... See, I learned this lesson last week. Whenever I want to zoom in, don't use the camera function to zoom in. Instead, move the camera itself, because then I'll remember to back out. So, yahoo. See, I'm learning. And this is one of the places, not quite the right color, this is one of the places where I think I know what needs to happen. This roof right here needs to be lighter, and it's green. It's one of those verdigris, copper, weathered copper roofs. I'm thinking, yeah, darker than the sky. I had to think for a minute there. One other comment about painting in this situation. Because the painting is working so well, I'm going to be very conservative and leave very much, as much as I can stand, even more than I can stand. I'm going to make much of the underpainting show through. let me tell you another trick. I've already done this on this painting somewhat. I'll move you for just a minute and point you at this building right here, the blue one, the pale blue one right there. Let me tell you what I did here. I did this last week without you watching me. I painted it quite fastidiously, quite carefully, more accurate and way more accurate and careful than my normal. And then predictably, when I sat back and looked at what I had just done, I didn't know exactly what was wrong with it, but something in my head, heart, mind, eye went, that ain't right. And I let it sit for probably just about an hour. I'm in oils now, you understand. I let it sit for quite a while, and then finally, bear with me while I move you around again. Then finally, I picked up a rag like this, stuck a couple fingers and actually dipped it in Gamsol or Terpenoid, and quite vigorously did several. I won't do it now. It's dry anyway, but I rubbed it out and messed up 60% of my neatness. And then it was too messy. So I came back and did about 1, 2, 3 little bits of detail again, and then it was perfect. So I mean, you know, perfect is a relative term around here, but I liked it right much. So that's just a trick. I've mentioned that before. It's a good trick to have up your sleeve. What is a trick? You overdraw something, and then of course it's overdrawn. It's too tight. So after overdrawing it, you mess it up, and it worked out quite nicely in this blue building right here. It feels just right to me just now. All right, I'm still working. While I'm talking about that blue building, I was still working over here. Just a word about green, by the way. We've talked about green on this channel a fair amount. Yeah, boy, that's just about done. And I've given several tours of my palette. Let me show you again real quick. So there's, whoops, hang on. There's my palette. And I'm pretty particular, fairly particular about every color on that. Dioxazine violet, permanent rose, naphthol crimson, crimson lake, any orange, so I'm not particular about that. Except cad. I don't want cadmium. Indian yellow, warm yellow, cool yellow, skip green, phthalo blue, ultramarine, and then a series of browns from light to dark. Normally I like to have a Naples yellow and a yellow ochre. I don't have either one on this palette, very unusual. Anyway, the point being, I don't care about greens. I usually, when I give those tours, I say, whatever, what the heck, any green will do. And the reason is, back to my painting now, the reason I'm very cavalier about green, hang on, I'm gonna get you in the right place in a minute, is because even though right now I have I think that's a Viridian green on there, I rarely use green as green qua green. I start out with a dab of green, but then quickly add blue, yellow, all different kinds of yellows, and all different kinds of blues and browns and violets and every color in the world to my greens, so that in the final analysis, who knows what color it is. So anyway, just for what it's worth, that's just a comment about greens and why I don't care about. Sometimes I'll have sap green, sometimes viridian green, yellow, I don't mean yellow, chromium oxide green, because it's just a starting point, and it gets so quickly mixed with other things that I don't even care. So that's just, I'm weird in that way. Maybe as I grow as an artist, maybe I'll go, oh man, I've been missing all these years, and I should have been using, blank, you name it, permanent green light, another one that I like. Sap green is fine. I like sap green. But that's going to have to come, because at the moment that's not the way I operate. I just am all over the place. Another thing that I'm doing on this particular painting, it's a little bit off book, so to speak, is using the black pencil intermittently with the paint, which is what you just saw me do a minute ago. Which, as I was doing this the other day, it made me wonder, I wonder if this is the way I will mature as an artist. Instead of having 14 or 15 distinct steps in my painting process, I wonder if these distinct steps will become more and more integrated, so that I don't know. I don't know. Can't make that happen. It makes me wonder if it'll happen. And I'm sort of doing that right now in this painting. That's what brought it to mind. But so back to the exploring new territory concept for a minute. By the way, one of the ironies again about this particular painting is we are up on a hill, and the horizon is right about here, so that there's virtually no linear perspective all the way through here. And I want to make sure that I've got that I do that consistently. Now see, right here it's going down, so that means one of these lines needs to change, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it's that one, the one I just did. Okay, better to catch it early rather than late. But normally you would think of a city with big, tall buildings as having pretty distinct perspective. But the irony is, because we're up on a hill and we're looking almost straight on, yeah, there really is very little. Yeah, I think this one's right. I think my horizon's right about there. So I misspoke a minute ago, so I'm going to fix that. It's right about there. When in doubt, of course, look at your reference and see what it tells you. Don't just keep painting away. What else? I'm giving a presentation tonight at the Fine Arts League of Cary. I did that last year one time. And with much fear and trepidation, whether they want it or not, they're not paying me anything, so I can do whatever I want, so to speak. Anyway, I'm going to pull out the philosophical guns tonight. The official title I gave to the organizers is Quest for Beauty, and I'm gonna tackle the issue of modern art, quote unquote, for want of a better term. So I hope to broadcast that live. And of course, then I hope to leave it available on my channel for anyone that wants to hear me rant and rave. I hope not. About philosophy, history, and beauty. Now, simply by using the word beauty, you can tell that I'm radically out of step with the prevailing philosophies of the 20th century art department. All right, are we back? Yeah, we are. Sorry, I never lost you. I lost my monitor for a minute there. All right. So as you might be able to see here, this is why I'm concerned that this broadcast, I dare not keep it going too long, because I think it's just going to be too slow and too boring. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon, because I do feel like I need to paint slowly. All right, I'm going to do that thing that I just mentioned to you. Now that I've painted that, it's all just a little bit too fussy, accurate, tight, realistic. You see the clean outside edge and so on? Well, okay, so here we go. I'm going to back up so you can see my whole... Hi, David, yeah. Second Empire, that was back in the day, yeah. All right, so I need to mess this up. The way physically that I move when I do it will have an awful lot to do with how it looks. I'm trying to decide whether to do left hand or right hand. Probably both. I've got two fingers kind of, can you see, kind of splayed out. I'll start with that. And then a knuckle. Okay. So that's somewhat better. In other words, you can't do that kind of thing timidly, tentatively, insecurely, slowly. You can't go, forgive me, I know I'm presenting almost a mocking tone when I do that, but doggone it, some things need to be mocked. And I'm still not happy with the perspective on this line right here, so I'm actually going to draw that again. So again, I think that this is just going to be a little bit too boring to do a long broadcast. So I might just end the broadcast right here, and then if I decide to start another one, I will do so. Okay, but not yet. Okay, I've got something else to say. Doggone, this guy always has something else to say. So you just saw me paint too tightly and then vigorously mess up what I painted, and now painting too tightly again. Right? How many times can you go back and forth doing this? And the answer, you know, is infinite. You can keep going back and forth as many times as you want. A little bit too much pencil here and there, so can you see how much of the underpainting red and yellow? I think I'm happy with that. It's a green roof. Why does it have red and yellow on it? Well, go ask Monet. Who did a great deal to teach us how to see the world. All right, I am going to stop there, but first let me look at your guys' chats. Let's see what's up. I saw David Mercer. Hey, Warren, good to have you on board. Thank you, David. I think that was a compliment. Complimented colors, well balanced. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. That's, you're talking about this, I think, this painting, right? Yeah. Way to go, Susan. Watercolor sketchbook, go for it. Hello, Barbara. Good to have you. All my regulars, I don't mean all of them, but all of you are regulars. Always fun to hear from you. Thank you for leaving a chat. And somebody asked me the other day, am I going to do super chat? The answer is absolutely, yes, I am. That is in the plan. I've taken steps, and then I got a little bit frustrated with the process, so I said, to heck with it. I'm going to wait till I get one of my techie young friends to walk me. I don't want to waste my time. I'm going to just get one of my friends who knows how to do it to walk me through the process of doing super chat. Yeah, I'm absolutely planning to implement that. All right, so here we go. I'm going to keep on without your company. Enjoyed it very much, and I think I'll just end this broadcast here and pick up again. If I find myself doing something really interesting, I'll start another broadcast, okay? Thank you again for your company. Bye.